The smartest man in Athens claimed he knew nothing. Around 400 BC in ancient Greece, there was a man who made powerful people look foolish just by asking questions. His name was Socrates, and he had a strange habit. Whenever someone claimed to be an expert on courage, justice, or virtue, Socrates would ask them to define it. They'd give confident answers. Then he'd ask another question, and another. Within minutes, their certainty would crumble. They'd realize they didn't actually understand what they claimed to know. He wasn't trying to embarrass them. He was showing them something they refused to see. Their confidence was built on nothing. In Athens, reputation was everything. Sophists sold their wisdom for money. Politicians claimed to know what was best for the city. Teachers promised to make young men successful. Everyone had answers. Everyone was certain. Knowledge meant power, and admitting ignorance meant weakness. The culture rewarded people who spoke with authority, even if they were wrong. Socrates did the opposite. When the oracle at Delphi declared him the wisest man in Athens, he didn't accept it. He went around questioning supposed experts to prove the oracle wrong. And he discovered something disturbing. These experts didn't actually know what they claimed to know. They just believed they did. The only difference between him and them was that he knew he didn't know. That's what made him wise. Social media gives everyone a platform to speak with certainty. You scroll through confident takes on politics, psychology, health, relationships. Everyone knows the answer. Everyone has it figured out. Admitting you don't know something feels like losing. Like you're less than. Like you're not smart enough. So what did Socrates understand that we keep refusing to accept? There's a famous dialogue where Socrates meets a general named Laches. Laches is known for his bravery in battle. Socrates asks him a simple question. What is courage? Laches is confident. Courage is standing your ground in battle and not running away. Easy. Socrates nods. But what about a general who retreats strategically to win the war? Is that not also courageous? Laches adjusts. Okay, courage is endurance of the soul. Socrates asks, what about foolish endurance? Is that courageous? A man who endures stupidly isn't brave. He's reckless. Laches gets frustrated. He keeps trying to define courage, and Socrates keeps showing gaps in the definition. Not to win an argument. What Laches thought he understood completely, he barely understood at all. This is what Socrates did constantly. He'd ask people to define concepts they used every day. Justice, beauty, goodness. They'd give confident answers because they'd never actually thought deeply about it. Then Socrates would gently pull the thread until their entire framework unraveled. Not because he had the right answer, because he wanted them to see they didn't either. Most people hated this. Getting exposed as ignorant when you thought you were knowledgeable is humiliating. Especially in public. Especially when you've built your reputation on being an expert. So, instead of accepting their ignorance and learning, they got angry. They called Socrates arrogant, accused him of corrupting the youth. Eventually, they put him on trial and sentenced him to death. All because he refused to pretend he knew things he didn't. Watch what he's actually doing. Socrates isn't teaching information. He's teaching a method. A way of thinking. He's showing that real wisdom starts with recognizing the limits of your knowledge. Not pretending you don't know anything about anything. But being honest about where your certainty ends and your assumptions begin. Most people can't do this. You have an opinion on something, and you defend it like your life depends on it. Someone challenges it, and you feel attacked. You double down. You find evidence that supports your view, and ignore evidence that doesn't. You surround yourself with people who agree with you, all to protect the feeling of being right. Socrates would say that's the opposite of wisdom. You're prioritizing comfort over truth. You'd rather feel certain than actually understand. You're building your entire worldview on assumptions you've never examined. And the more confident you feel, the more dangerous you become. Because you'll make decisions based on things you think you know but actually don't. Think about the last time you got into an argument. You were certain you were right. The other person was certain they were right. Neither of you would budge. Socrates would ask both of you, can you define exactly what you're arguing about? Can you explain why you believe what you believe? Not just repeat your position, but actually examine the foundation it's built on. Most people can't. They're defending conclusions they arrived at without examining the premises. And that certainty feels like strength. It's not. It's intellectual laziness disguised as confidence. Here's what Socrates understood. The person who admits they don't know something can learn. The person who thinks they already know everything can't. Your ignorance is only a problem if you're pretending it doesn't exist. Once you acknowledge it, you can do something about it. But you can't fix a problem you won't admit you have. This applies to everything. You think you know how to be a good parent, do you? Or are you just copying what your parents did without examining whether it actually works? You think you know what makes you happy, do you? Or are you chasing things society told you would make you happy without questioning if that's as true for you? You think you know what's right and wrong in every situation, do you? Or are you applying rules you inherited without understanding why those rules exist, or whether they apply here? Socrates would say, most of your beliefs are unexamined. You accepted them at some point and never looked back. And now you defend them as if your identity depends on them being true. It does. That's the problem. You've tied your sense of self to being right, to being smart, to having answers. So when someone challenges your beliefs, it feels like they're attacking you personally. Socrates would say that's exactly backwards. If someone shows you're wrong, they're giving you a gift. They're showing you where your thinking is flawed so you can fix it. But only if you're willing to admit the flaw exists. Most people aren't. They'd rather be consistently wrong than admit they were wrong once. They'd rather protect their ego than pursue truth. And that's why they stay stuck. Same beliefs, same behaviors, same problems. Just more certainty about why everything is someone else's fault. Socrates died because of this. Athens executed him for questioning authority and making people uncomfortable. He could have saved himself. The jury offered him a chance to stop teaching. Just admit you were wrong and go quietly. He refused. Not because he was stubborn. Because admitting he was wrong would have required pretending he knew something he didn't. And that was the one thing he wouldn't do. That's how seriously he took intellectual honesty. You don't have to go that far. But you do have to start being honest about what you actually know versus what you just think you know. Stop defending every opinion like it's sacred. Stop treating challenges to your beliefs as personal attacks. Stop surrounding yourself only with people who agree with you. Start admitting when you don't know something. Start saying, I'm not sure more often. Start examining your assumptions instead of just defending them. That's not weakness. That's the beginning of actual wisdom. The recognition that you don't know as much as you think you do. That your certainty is often just unexamined assumptions. That being wrong about something is information, not failure. That learning requires admitting ignorance first. Socrates was called the wisest man in Athens because he was the only one honest enough to admit how much he didn't know. Everyone else was pretending. Everyone else was defending positions they'd never examined. 2,000 years later, nothing has changed. People are still confusing confidence with knowledge. Still defending beliefs they've never examined. Still attacking anyone who questions them. Still choosing comfortable certainty over uncomfortable truth. Socrates is still right, and we're still ignoring him. The wisest admit their limits. Everyone else is just loud.